bet that shoe tastes better than the meat on that smoker looks. Amateur. And I wanted to comment on this guy's post, being like, are you in the Barbecue Hall of Fame? Did you just win grand champion at this competition? Have you even ever put meat on a smoker? I doubt it.
You going to say it first? You said it last episode.
I can. Why would you do that to me? Now I'm not ready.
Welcome to Cue the Mic.
Yeah, welcome to Cue the Mic. What he said. I did it.
Emma,
I had it written down last week.
Episode
10.
10.
We hit double digits.
Whoa, double digits.
Yeah,
I was just sitting here talking to Emma before we started about her, last week. I hope you got to listen to the podcast as Luke Darnell from Old Virginia Smoke stood in as the Darren stand-in while I was doing the Virgil Ward thing, fishing the lakes of northern Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a fun episode. It's a fun episode. It was a lot easier for me to start the episode. I'm not sure why. I was so nervous for no reason at all. But
I mean, Emma was so excited for me to hear it. Of course, I don't normally listen to the podcast. And so this morning at 3:50 in the morning, I get a message from Emma.
I knew you'd be awake.
Hey, make sure you listen to this podcast.
I was already listening.
I didn't respond on purpose.
Because
I wanted to listen to it. I was listening, so I listened in. So Luke did a pretty good job. He's kind of still in the amateur podcast.
Okay.
He's a professional, but it was funny to see your I didn't watch it. I just listened, and I'm going to have to go back to YouTube and check it out because your interaction with Luke reminds me of your mom's interaction with Luke. She kind of gets a little.
Just a cool guy.
Just a little giddy. He's just a big old teddy bear.
I was just nervous, and because you and my mom both think so highly of him, I didn't want to, I didn't think I could mess it up, but I didn't want to, embarrass myself. But I think we did a pretty good job.
Well, yeah, and you guys said you roasted me. I didn't hear much roasting in there. Where was the roasting from?
It was subtle stuff.
Really?
It was subtle
stuff. See. Nothing more than...
Yeah. I mean, I called him I said that I called in a real professional right off the get-go, which is just a fact.
Which is true. Which is true.
And then there were some other ones. He said you're a nightmare. I disagreed with that part. But I also didn't think you'd make it that far.
He's also my token Democrat friend.
Oh, Jesus.
No, it's funny. It's funny.
He brought
political.
up January 6th, and you can kind of see it in my face. My eyes got a little big, and I was like, what are you gonna do? Where are you going with that? There were a couple moments where I was like, oh, this is about to be very Darren of you, and I can't control what's about to happen.
I thought that funny. It's funny. Luke and I have quite a few political conversations, and being kind of on one side or the other, what we both agree on is 98% of everything we agree on. There's a couple things we disagree on, but we don't disagree. We just agree to disagree. And so it's a very healthy relationship. And I think if more people could have that relationship and have intelligent conversation back and forth about the state of affairs in life, but that's not the way it works in the real world, but it is the way with Luke and I.
Yeah, we don't need to get too much more into it after that.
Yeah, when he did January 6th, I'm like, really, dude?
I was genuinely nervous. It was
a catastrophic event at the Capitol. Oh my God, people! No, I'm not even getting into it.
Let's not.
He watches too much CNN.
Oh my God. He did say that we should do an episode, the three of us, which would be entertaining, I think.
Well, I think
would
he
just
should be.
honestly
I was
sit and
thinking
watch.
who we could find to be my fill-in next week. This is pretty easy. I just set up
geez.
something. Hey, call Emma. Here's her contact information. Why don't you run
Honestly.
the podcast? I thought it worked out great.
Yeah.
I didn't really
It was-
learn anything though. That was
Well,
that's
it
kind
wasn't
of
necessarily. It was. I wanted his point of view on things that we have talked about with you,
yeah.
which I think we got. You know.
I just like to teach people about business, though. That's kind of an important part. I'm not sure how we're going to fit it in today with the agenda we've kind of typed out, but we're going to try and figure out because I think that's an important part as I talk to people. You know, they're inquisitive about running a business.
Yeah. Well,
and-
and he and I talked more about the content side of doing that stuff, which I think's good and people need.
Yeah.
But I do think you kind of want to be him. That comment I still stand by. Okay.
Yeah, I
What?
do. You want
Yeah.
to know why I want to be Luke Darnell?
Why?
Because I'd like to play golf 5 days a week, work about a day.
Did you not hear him? He skipped out on the beach to do some caterings because he is
He
dedicated.
is so full of crap, Emma. You're just like your mother. You believe anything Luke Darnell says.
Oh.
Skip the beach.
While you were out fishing, he was working.
Oh, I bet you I accomplished more in my mind than he will in a month. Take
In
that,
your
Luke
mind?
Darnell.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no. You know what we should do is we should do an episode with you two and my mom. Now, that would be an experience for everybody involved.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
It would be.
Yeah.
Sitting here drinking. Sitting here drinking a Diet Mountain Dew.
not
date.
sponsored.
The date. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still like to drink a Diet Mountain Dew occasionally. I like
You have to say that nowadays.
Is it aspartame? Yeah, I love
You
that.
can
No.
you can get flagged for not mentioning branding on TikTok and like get your videos taken down. So
So anyway,
Yeah.
September
Just in case.
11th, my birthday. It's my birthday.
Mm.
September 11th, dated. That's the expire by date. Pretty sure I'll have it drank
that's
by
such a
then. But
fun fact.
yeah, fun fact. Okay, what are we talking about?
What a day. Well, it's just kind of a catch up, you know. Talked
Catch up?
about Luke's episode a little bit. Yeah, we haven't seen each other in weeks. It feels like
Well, you know, we had
we
World
spent
Pork
some time
Expo.
together today. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we did.
We had World Pork Expo. So World Pork Expo
Yeah.
is always a challenge. You know, we talked about in the past that you come out right off graduation, off 5 weeks of graduation season, and you go right into Pork Expo. And Emma and Shayla and Jim in the kitchen and a bunch of staff, they all killed it as always, like they normally do. I think we catered. I don't know how many caterings do we do out there? 20 some.
Yeah, I think 22.
22 caterings. On
It was only
site.
between,
Yeah.
a couple of tents, but it was good.
In a few days, but knocked it out of the park. Used to be a big thing, and we kind
Yeah.
of downsized it a little bit, and for the better. You know, the hardest thing about Pork Expo is, you know, you got customers that think they're going to feed 250 people, when realistically they're only going to feed 120. But you got to be prepared that if they do have 250 people, that they're paying for 250 people. So let's just say
Yeah.
we end up with lots of leftovers that go to different places and support the local, you know, kind of pantries and
Yep.
missions and things like that. So it's always a good thing. It's a lot of prep, and when you get done, you're like, wow, that's a lot of waste, because not only did we have to, you know, not only do we have to make all that stuff, you know, we had to produce it, we had to buy it, we had to produce it, we had to make it, we had to heat it up, we had to deliver it to the customer, and then we had to haul it all back out. And so it's tough, and we get better every year at it, predicting, but still, you got to be prepared. If a customer wants to feed 250 people, you need to be able to feed 250 people. So it's kind of a tough thing with all catering. We've talked about portion sizes many times, and you know, you just have to know the crowd and what's going on.
Yeah.
So
It was a lot busier this year than it has been the last couple of years. But I don't think as many people had necessarily like open tents for food. So We didn't get rid of as much as we could have.
I used to kind of do all the booking for that and set the master plan and everything, and I kind of turned that over and made Shayla do that starting a few years ago. And so now my extent of Pork Expo is making up a list of production stuff, which I screwed up this year and produced 400 pounds too much pork loin. But that's okay. We sold it all. We sold it all. We cut it in half, cryovac it, sold like hotcakes. Customers got crazy good deal. It was crazy good pork loin. So we got rid of that. We covered our cost. That everybody got a good deal. Where else can you buy a half a pork loin for $20? $5. That was like $4 a pound.
Yeah.
If I was you, Emma, I would have been stocking those in my freezer. You can't eat that protein any cheaper than that.
Well, it's not on my list, so I didn't. But I did cheat a little bit one day because I made a really bad fish, like really bad. Probably one of the worst things I've ever made in my life. And I was starving. And Shayla's like, I stole you a little pork loin. And I was like, you know what? Because I'm so hungry and we still have so long to go, I am going to eat that. And it was delicious and worth every bite. But it was tough.
Yeah, so anyway, my extent now is either making that list, and then I go out on Tuesday and I kind of listen to the plan they got and, what's their plan. And, it seems like I don't even have to go out on Tuesday anymore. It seems like they got it handled. And
we have a pretty good system now.
Yeah.
So I've been doing the expo for, I think, 8 or 9 years because I used to do it a lot in high school with my mom and stuff. This year was the best weather we've ever had, and it was crappy weather. Like, it rained on Wednesday, but it was 60 degrees and delightful compared to normally. I fry so bad at the expo. So this year I was pumped until I guess Thursday morning when it was 60, raining, wind was blowing in my face, and I wanted to go home, but we powered through. Nobody
quit.
It was the first time I've never been sunburned.
Yeah,
it was a win in itself.
Let's see, Thursday I was on my way to Canada, got a stop at my favorite Gordy's Hi-Hat. If you've never been to Gordy's Hi-Hat, it's an old school walk-up kind of hamburger joint that has been around forever and ever and ever. And it's kind of, they have a cool process. People are lined out the door. I mean, they are huge. They're up in Cloquet, Minnesota. And you walk, and they have a burger and double burger, pizza burger. They also have fish sandwich. They have a pretty wide variety of menu, but they come up and they take your order and give you a number. You don't pay for anything. Huh. And then when you come to pick up your order, you pay for it at that time.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's maybe if people change their mind and say, hey, oh, by the way, I wanted this or whatever. I'm not sure. Or it may be, I got to meet Gordy a few years ago. I think he's probably passed away now. We'll have to look that up. But, I walked up and here's this old guy at the counter. And I looked at the picture on the wall of Gordy and I'm like, I think that's Gordy. And pretty soon here comes this young kid. And you could tell it was his grandson. And he goes, hey, Grandpa, you done taking orders? You want to sit down for a little bit? And Gordy's like, no, I think I'm good. And he was slow, and you could tell he was holding up progress. And pretty soon, while I'm waiting in line, I'm hearing this. And I'm just taking it all in because when I walk into a place like that, I want to replicate it. And I'm just taking in every single detail. And pretty soon, here comes his son, Gordy's son. And said, hey, Dad, you ready to take a break yet? Let's just go ahead and get you a cup of coffee, Dad. Oh, just get done. I'll get done with this next order. And they were just trying to get him out of the window, even though you could tell that was his love. He wanted to be in the window. And so just that whole history thing. But they serve a very simplistic burger just on a great bun. It's just everything about it is just amazing. And I it's like the old style drive-in, not drive-in, kind of drive-in, but you order at the counter, but they got 6 people on a grill behind it just cooking burgers as fast as they can, and fish sandwich. Walleye, they make a walleye sandwich, but it's a diners, drive-ins, and dive place. So they've been on diners, drives, and I've never seen the episode. I need to go look that up on YouTube and check it out. But Gordy's Hi Hat, it's a must-stop for us. It's just old school, and I think, they just simplistic menu, and they just been killing it for years.
Would you say you've been to the canteen, right, in Asomar?
Yeah.
Would you say it's kind of like that style, or
a little
more
bit
of like bebop's when you want to walk up?
No. Not like bebops, but yeah, somewhat of the canteen. Kind of, your order at the counter, and I haven't been there in years, but it's an institution, and I think that's something to be said for food like that is easy to make and a very simplistic menu, but still good.
Yeah.
And consistent every time, has tested, you look at a restaurant that's been around for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, they're that type of restaurant. They bring something, and especially that, because they're in northern Minnesota, there is nothing.
Right.
And everybody stops. I mean, they have a parking lot so huge, and you go out and you're like, the line's 25, 30 yards long. Don't worry about it. It only takes 10 minutes. Yeah. And it does. It takes 10 minutes. They make homemade,
that's pretty good.
Homemade raspberry shakes and just all kinds of great stuff. I just can't. It's always closed when I come back through, so I get to stop again. But I mean, it's worth it. I'd drive from Des Moines just to go there for lunch, and that's about 7 hours.
Oh my God, you'd have to leave the second you woke up. Well, not really with you, but
not really.
Yeah. I don't go that far north ever, but maybe I will. Because that sounds like something I would like.
Yeah.
I love
really
burgers. I love burgers.
Good solid.
Yeah.
Good solid burger. But otherwise,
Did you catch a lot of fish?
Caught a lot of fish. We
that's good.
I think we set a record this year. We bought 115 dozen minnows. So, I mean, when we started the week off, we were catching like 200 fish a person per day.
No way.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
trust
so
me.
much.
I got the minnow bill to, that I can produce. But yeah, we easily caught way over 2,000 fish for the week. I mean, it was just crazy. Catch and release, just great action. Nungasser Lake Lodge is just an amazing place. We've been going there for 25 years. And it's a trophy lake, so you can only keep 2 fish under 18 inches to eat. And so it's just amazing fishing. We had cool weather. We had hot 85-degree, no breeze, out in the middle of a lake weather, to wake up to 40 degrees with steam coming across the lake and wind blowing the next day. So, I mean, we saw a little bit of everything. Never rained, which was great,
That's
even
good.
though we wore a rain suit half the time just to keep the wind off of us. But overall, great trip. Cooked a lot of great food. We always cook a huge breakfast every morning. We have to have biscuits and gravy a couple times. We got to have corned beef hash. Pancakes one morning. I made a little concoction with a sausage patty with bacon and then poured pancake batter all over the top of it. And it was bigger than the plate. We had to use 2 spatulas to turn it. And then when it come out, I put American cheese on it, and I put 2 soft basted eggs on top of it. It was just like killer good.
Feels like a form of torture. I honestly.
And then at night, we always cook fish multiple different ways. So we always have appetizers, kind of like where we take walleye and we boil it and poach it for just a few minutes, and then we mix it with ketchup and horseradish, and we take English muffins and cut them into 4, drizzle it with olive oil, put steak seasoning, make crostinis out of it, and then we put this kind of a shrimp cocktail but made with walleye on top of it. We call it crostinis. And then Justin, one night, I said, hey, I wonder if, like chicken salad and tuna salad, I wonder if walleye would work. So we poached up some walleye, mixed it with some mayo and some green onions, some spices and whatever, and we had walleye salad on crackers. It was really good. And then we only fry fish once. We grilled it. We baked it. We blackened it. We, of course, have date night on Wednesday night where we have Wagyu steaks.
Oh, okay.
date nights when everybody actually takes a shower.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you go all week, and you're going to smell like fish, right? So why take a shower every day when you're just going to smell like fish? Yeah.
Men are weird.
It's a guy thing.
Yeah, that is 100% a guy thing.
So date nights years ago, we used to go into town on date night, and we'd go party with the locals and stuff. Well, now we can't go into town because we're portaging in, so it's quite a trip to get into town. And so, but it's still date night. Wednesday's always date night.
That's fun. Kind of jealous of all the food you had.
Oh yeah, we had amazing food. And then,
that sounds good.
We get on the. I started a few years ago that I wanted to cook this barbecue contest in State Center. It's a small little town contest in Iowa, and so years ago I talked the guys, instead of leaving really early on Friday morning out of camp, that we left Thursday afternoon and we drove to International Falls. And I always said, hey, you guys come along. I'll buy your hotel rooms and I'll buy your dinner if you come out of camp a half a day early. And of course they all agree to that. And so we went to International Falls on Thursday afternoon, get there Thursday night, had dinner at a local, well, it was a hotel, brand new hotel, really nice hotel, but had a restaurant that had just opened up, and they were struggling a little bit. The food was decent, but they were struggling with the execution, and you could tell they'd only been open a few weeks. But it was fun. And then Friday morning, got up bright and early, 3:50 a.m. I think it was. Got on the road by 5. Stopped at my favorite place in northern Minnesota. They make a cranberry wild rice bread, and so I have all these little things that we've been doing for years that it's like we love to do. So we stopped, and I said, we're not going to eat breakfast. We didn't have time. We're just going to get a loaf of bread. I'm like, oh, I really want this because they serve it with like homemade strawberry preserves. So I'm like, hey, can I get some toast to go? So we got toast to go, and it was just so good. But landed back in Des Moines at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I had nothing ready for the contest. No meat prepped. I had to go to the restaurant and get ribs. I didn't have any supplies. None of my sauce was made. The trailer wasn't loaded. No charcoal. No nothing. I was starting from ground zero. And when I pull in the driveway, I had a plan that if I could just get out of there by 2 o'clock, or in 2 hours, by trimming all my meat at home and stuff, I'd be ready to go. Well, I pull in the driveway, and here's the grandkids. Wanted to see Papa. So that plan went out the table, kind of played with them just for a little bit. And then I went to the restaurant. I was going to be at the restaurant for 10 minutes. Of course, I was there for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that never happens.
And then I get back and get everything loaded in the trailer. And finally, 4:30, we're on our way to State Center, Iowa. So, we're arriving between 5:30. They got a place reserved for us on the end. We pull in, I get my meat inspected, I start instantly trimming meat and trying to knock it all out. So I got that all done by about 7:30, and I was pretty beat by then. We had some friends that had a little potluck, so I went over there, had one little drink, and I said, I'm out. Sherry went to the bar with a couple other barbecue buddies. I'm like, hey. She's like, I'm going to go to the bar. I'm like, see ya. So I went back and I crashed.
In bed by 9?
Well, I'm in bed by 9, been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. So it was kind of crazy. And so then we cooked the contest, and we had all kinds of issues. Normally we don't have a lot of issues go wrong, but, we get to chicken turn in, and I get ready to take my chicken off the pit. And, of course, when you cook it, I cook it, and then you put it in a pan and you steam it to make the skin tender. Well, I open up the pan. I had only cooked 9 pieces of chicken because I didn't want to trim 12 because it was going to take too long. So I trimmed 9 pieces of chicken. I open up, and 5 of my 9, the top skins are blown all over. They just blew apart, and they look like hell. I'm like, wow, this is good. And I looked at Sharon. I'm like, wow, what do we want to do here? And she's like, have you seen some of these boxes people turn in? They look like crap. Just put the 6 best in the box. Let's go. So that's what we did. Put the six in the box, two of them just totally blown out, skins on top. Looked like hell. Turned them in. Third place chicken. And
Cooks
then,
don't matter.
We get calls in ribs. Ribs kind of went okay, except for I double sauced them for some reason. Sherry looked like, what are you doing? Why did you just do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just forgot how, evidently. So anyway, by the time I used the same sauce, well, by the time I got to pork, I'm halfway through pork turn-in, and I run out of barbecue sauce. So I don't have any barbecue sauce. And so I'm like, well, I'm just scraping sauce off the cutting board, trying to get enough sauce on the pork to turn it in, which it wasn't as much as I wanted to put on there. But turned it in. I think we got, I don't know, 7th place pork, something like that, 6th place. And then come to brisket, and I'm like, okay, we've had enough problems. So I opened my brisket. It's beautiful. I put a little sauce on top of it, put it back in the cooker for about 5 minutes just to make kind of a fake bark on it. And I pull it out, and I slice it. A really good brisket. And then I go to grab the sauce to put a little sauce on the back of the brisket slice, and my sauce is gone. And I'm like, what'd you do with my sauce, Sherry? I said, it was right here. And she goes, I didn't touch your sauce. I'm like, well, it's either here on the table or it's in the crock pot where you keep it warm in a bottle. We keep a crock pot, little competition tip. If you ever want to keep your sauce warm, just take a crock pot and put about an inch of water in the bottom, then put your bottles of sauce in there first thing in the morning, and it heats them up, and then you can go by every once in a while and turn them over, and that way your sauce is always hot. You don't have to heat it up. You don't have to put it in the pit. It's just a great little tip that I stole from a guy. And so I couldn't find my sauce. And I'm like, the clock is ticking. I'm like, what are we going to do here? And I said, and I didn't have any other sauce in the trailer. And I'm like, okay, I really want to put sauce on this brisket. So we had about 5 minutes left to turn in. So I said, I'll be right back. She goes, where are you going? I said, I'm going next door. I'll borrow some sauce. So I went over to Jeff from Chicken and Grin, and I said, hey, you got any extra brisket sauce? I don't even know what he uses for brisket sauce. Didn't matter. It was brisket sauce, right? And he does well in brisket. So I borrowed some sauce from him, come back, went in, turned it in, ended up getting a top 10 call in brisket too, and we ended up winning the contest. And
Yeah, you do.
And Griffin, my good luck grandson, him and Henley both showed up before awards. My dad was there, my sister. They all just came up to hang out, and and
Whole family affair.
Whole family affair. When we went to awards, Griffin was excited. I get that third place call in chicken. I said, hey, Griffin, you want to go to the stage with me? He goes, yeah. So he runs up to the stage and stands in front, and he gets ready to take his picture, and he's like, cheese. It's just cute as hell. And so anyway, then we get a call. He said, Griffin got another call, and he ran to stage. By the time we got to brisket, he was on stage long before I even got there. He just instantly knew what to do. He went and grabbed the check, grabbed the ribbon, and was getting his picture taken before I got there.
Natural.
So I think he's addicted. So
start him young.
This competition barbecue thing that I thought was maybe coming more to an end may have to go on for another 15 or 20 years.
Yeah. Never going to stop. You really thought it was coming to an end? Come on.
No, we keep talking about that. We've been doing it for 20 years, and it's just, it's kind of like competition barbecue is kind of like the restaurant to me. So I'm talking to our neighbor at the restaurant today. He's in over at lunch, and I'm sitting there, and I'm very rarely there at lunch, but I happen to be there at lunch. I said, hey, Mike, what's going on? Whatever. And he says, hey, just catching up, So we're sitting there talking about whatever, and we sat there and talked for a half hour. And just that. And he goes, you know what amazes me? What? And he goes, I met you 13 years ago when you moved into this current location. He says, I think you're more excited about the barbecue business now than you were then. And I think he's probably right. There's so much more to accomplish, and there's so much more to improve and do, that it's like there's just not enough hours in the day, and not enough getting enough people on the right track to, if we could implement all my ideas, but it's just having time. Just having time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, successful weekend. You did get a nice little shout out from a different local news outlet this week. That was fun.
Yeah, so Andy Fales, who's been a big fan of Smokey D's over the years at WHO TV 13, he went up and did a segment on Smokey, or he did a segment on the barbecue contest at the Rose Festival.
Competition.
And he mentioned the Hall of Fame, and he mentioned, that I was coming to town, and he kind of joked at the end, and he said even if Darren cooked his shoe, it'd probably be good enough to eat or something along those lines. And so we kind of, when I had early on Saturday morning when I had my ribs on the pit, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get Andy Fales back here. So I took off my dudes and put right next to the rib, just kind of a fun picture. I said, hey, and Andy, in case you're by for lunch, yours is ready, and things like that. And we posted it on the internet, and
we did.
It kind of went crazy.
It did kind of go crazy. I love when your posts do this, but also I don't. We hit 1 million. We've reached 1 million people, which that is a very rare thing to do, especially in the time that we have done it. So I'm a little surprised. I actually was super surprised today when I saw that. But the comments on this post win the day. Well, there were good and bad ones.
Yeah, so we're talking about this earlier, and Emma's telling me about how she's having to hide all these comments. I'm like, who's saying something bad enough that you need to hide a comment? Because, the fact of the matter is that's the only people read Facebook. It isn't for the content. And that's why they read the news. That's why they read everything online. It's for the stupid comments that people make on posts of like, do you live a real life?
Yeah.
And it's like people take things super seriously, and I'm like, really? You can't tell it was a joke?
Yeah, and I'm just one of those people where I just naturally have learned to hide them because I don't want more notifications about it, to be honest. I don't like when threads start.
I still don't understand why you keep notifications on, but
because
that's a whole different
we get
story.
A lot of DMs. I got to be ready at all times. I did have to mute them for a little bit because it was getting there for a while. It was getting pretty crazy.
But tell them the one like the fecal matter one.
Okay. Yeah. So we had a couple of negative ones. We had some really funny ones. I'm not going to lie. A lot of our people, like you could tell which people knew us and understood the joke. And then you could tell the people that once it started to really catch some traction, like it reached outsiders that didn't understand it was a joke. So we had one comment from this person, and I just hold on, let me pull it up. I couldn't believe what I was reading. There was quite a bit like this, but he commented, I heard of a study recently that virtually 100% of shoes tested had 100% of shoes tested had high levels of fecal matter on the sole. Now there's a food for thought. And I was like, dude,
really?
You got too much time on your hands if you're reading studies like that.
Well, and plus I take I had my ribs on the smoker, and then right in the corner where you would never, ever put food because it was right in the corner, I staged this shoe.
Yeah.
And I just, you're lucky you're doing my social media, Emma.
I know.
Because my response would have been, hey, pull down your mask, it's smothering you.
Yeah, that's not good either. Well, and somebody commented on this guy's post before I hit it, and that's when I don't ever want to comment. Sometimes I really do. This was one of the instances where I really wanted to comment back. So under that comment was a guy that said, I bet that shoe tastes better than the meat on that smoker looks. Amateur. And I wanted to comment on this guy's post, being like, are you in the Barbecue Hall of Fame? Did you just win grand champion at this competition? Have you even ever put meat on a smoker? I doubt it. Like, stay out of the comments, man.
Why didn't you?
Because I am a chicken.
Come on.
And I like to make us look positive. Like, we ignore the haters. I should be more like Wendy's.
But think how much people. I mean, I go to a bar when I'm in Florida, and they put all their 1-star reviews out. They got this special scrolling thing of 1-star reviews, with their little response at the bottom to them, and it's just so funny. It's just entertainment because that's what it is. I mean, people.
It is.
We've talked about people are just keyboard cowboys,
right? But they're doing this to get a reaction out of you, and I just sometimes don't want to give them that satisfaction. You know what I'm saying?
Don't be serious with them.
Well, no,
don't give
but
them that reaction. Give them a smart ass, because
But they want a response so they can keep it going. That's how it works.
Oh well, so my response to the fecal matter you ought to see the amount of phosphates and MSG that go into this meat that we put in front of judges. It's going to kill them long before fecal matter will.
Yeah, and I started looking at all of these people's profiles because we got probably 20 to 30 negative comments that I was like, you guys need to do something with your life.
Out of how many? Out of
100. But I was like, you guys need something better to do. There was one person that said, posting a picture of your dirty hey dudes in your barbecue pit is ignorance at its finest. And then it proceeded to call us morons. They're from Texas. It's like you don't even understand what just happened. Like, just stay out of it. I don't know why you felt the need to comment. Go tend to your rabbits, because they're some rabbitry or something. Like, I was so over it.
You think he's breeding rabbits?
I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something. But then some of these comments were hilarious. I think one that won me was, now that's some soul in your food. After your whole soul man thing.
Yeah.
Or that looks like some real soul food.
That's still
I thought those were pretty.
That's still alive and well on the barbecue circuit.
Yeah. But it showed. Somebody commented, looks like he added a well done steak. Which I thought was kind of funny. Or way to bring it home and not wind up a heel. That's just funny stuff. Like all these shoe puns. Talk about putting your foot into it. That one was there. And we got a lot of filet de soles and stuff like that. I was like, you guys are clever. So I was having a good laugh. And that was on Saturday. I was having a good laugh on Saturday. And then on Sunday, it was just hater after hater.
I was like,
it's Father's Day. Can you guys do something else?
Yeah, no kidding. Get
a life. Alone. Yeah.
Get a life. But there's something to be said for authentic, funny content.
Yeah.
Right? It's just,
I agree.
It's like we try and figure out how to do that on a daily basis so we're not serious, because people don't necessarily want to see serious from a marketing standpoint. They want to see fun stuff. They want to see stupid stuff.
Right. And the fact that post has reached 1.1 million people, has 20 shares, 40,000, almost 40,000 post engagements, which is a lot, compared to our normal, like your Grand Champions one, only reached 11,000 people.
Huh, so it's must have posted it too early.
We posted it at 5:10 p.m.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about
I haven't even
own.
posted the other one.
Oh,
you didn't send it to me. We posted the brisket.
You can
and pork
decipher
one.
off my. You can make one up. You can decipher off my post and.
Right, but the shoe one, we posted at 8:30 in the morning, and all hell broke loose. So, you learn something.
It was 8:30 on a Saturday. Everybody's hanging around doing nothing.
That's when I post all of our stuff. I started posting at 8 in the morning on Saturday. We don't reach people like that. You gotta irritate them. I've learned you either make them laugh or you piss them off, and that's how you get.
Okay, let's try that. That's the goal for this week.
We have to make them laugh. I'm not gonna piss people off.
No, we're gonna piss them off. We're gonna piss them off. Let's try it.
I can't.
Okay, let's make two. Let's make two posts. One that makes them laugh and one that pisses them off.
If we do, but then you have to remember, I can't take the mean comments. This is why I couldn't be famous. I didn't even struggle to be acquainted with famous people at this point.
Well, you're famous now that you had Luke Darnell on this podcast.
Hopefully. He said it's my podcast, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking we're going to have a drinking game every time you say
Yeah. I'm aware. Because I thought the same thing. I just can't get...
Because I never listened, and I never noticed it until
do
I
it
was
all the
listening
time.
to it, and all of a sudden
I've been
you're
trying
like,
to break this habit for
I'm like,
15 years.
I'm going to have
I
this.
can't.
I'm the same thing. I never finish a sentence. Just ask Sherry. I never
aware.
finished a sentence. Yeah, right.
Yeah. But...
Oh, well.
Yeah.
What else? Any other shitty situations going on?
That's use of wordage. That's just cruel. That is just cruel, and you know.
Emma's having a few sewer issues at home.
Yeah, my plumbing's causing some problems.
She's kind of getting maybe not abused, but by taken advantage of, because she's a 24-year-old single homeowner. And
they don't know that. I try to make it look like...
No.
I try to make it look like that somebody else lives there. I don't do a great job, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like leave shit laying around.
They've been doing a
whatever.
pretty good job of, like, recognizing. I don't think they're taking advantage of me as much as they could have.
Yeah. So
Because,
anyway, if you ever have your sewer system backing up into your bathtub, you probably
call
got
a plumber.
Problem. Probably ought to call a plumber.
Yeah, even if it is at 10 p.m. at night and you call everyone you know asking, do you guys know a plumber? Fun fact, nobody in my family knows a plumber, which is really weird because we know somebody for everything else.
Yeah. So it was, Emma bought this house how many years ago?
It'll be two in July. Yeah.
Two years ago, the age of 22, she branches out and does, I think, the right thing. She buys her first house.
Oh, yeah.
By
I still
herself.
stand by my decision.
By herself. But now she's starting to see the benefits of homeowner, right?
Yeah. I mean, I spent so much money getting so many trees removed this last fall. Now, I'm get my backyard all figured out, just dropped a lot of money on that. And now we're inside. So all my problems outside were getting solved. Now we're inside. Just come to find out part of my problem outside is what caused the inside problem. Doesn't help I don't have a basement.
Yeah, so but the one thing, remember, keep all those receipts, right?
Oh yeah.
Keep all those receipts, so when you go to sell that house and upgrade, right? And you think you probably at this point you'll never do that, but you will. When you go to upgrade, then all of a sudden when you have all this profit that you're making on this house, then you can offset that by these costs. So think of these are you're just offsetting future profits for tax purposes.
Oh, I already know that. My house got assessed really well. I already feel like I'm making a profit off of it. But yeah, it's very eye-opening. A very eye-opening experience.
So what else is going on? Anything?
No. I think the reason why this situation sucks so bad is because I bought plane tickets the same day it happened. Because I'm going back to Italy.
And she's excited about Italy. If she gets her time off approved.
I already talked to Sherry about it, so I think I'm setting pretty good.
Then it must be approved. But yeah, Emma likes to travel, and
I do like to travel. It's just nice that going to Europe twice in 3 years is kind of insane. I feel like for a lot of people, it's insane for me. I'm surprised I'm doing it, but I mean, you got friends over there. It helps.
You only live there. You only live once, right?
Exactly. And I'm in my 20s. I just have to worry about my house and my dog. Both of those checked off already.
Yeah.
So, boom. Why not?
Our social media will go to hell, and nobody will respond to anything that week.
Yeah,
but it's fine.
But all of our posts will be scheduled. All of our posts will be scheduled. You might not get any DMs. I can go weeks without getting a DM.
I don't even read them anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Be fine.
You don't have to. That's why you pay me.
That's right.
That's a day off.
Well, I feel like we weren't very educational.
No, but it was good conversation. We just caught up. Those are okay sometimes.
Caught up. Okay. But next time, let's get down to some nuts and bolts of the restaurant. We got to figure out some more.
Get down to business.
We got to get down to business. People aren't here to sit in there and listen to me and you talk and chatter. They're here to.
Some people might like that actually.
Get some tips and tricks. And by the way, I only did two rubs, 2 sauces on all the meats, except for that brisket sauce, because I'm not sure what was in it. So
right.
But for the most part, 2 rubs, 2 meats, still working. Been in the top 5 3 times with a grand. It would have been 4 times if I wouldn't overcook my brisket in the other one. So I'm really excited to kind of carry that trend forward and making barbecue simplistic again.
Yeah. Where's the next competition? So everyone can be on the lookout for it.
I haven't been to Florida in a while. So I think next week we'll be in Minnesota at a lake with friends. And then we have to come home for a wedding for a day. And then I'm going to fly to Florida for a week.
Okay, so no barbecue competitions.
So no barbecue competitions. I think we'll be in Oshkosh, Wisconsin in the middle of July.
We got some time.
Emmitsburg, Iowa, I believe, at the end of July, and then we're going to go from there. But I'm not very good about planning. I got signed up for the KCBS Invitational today. I need to get the American Royal today signed up, and then we'll be off and running.
Yeah, that's a big one. All right, well, I think that's all we got.
That's it for now.
Episode 10 of Cue the Mic. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow. Hit that notification bell if you're watching on YouTube so you can get notified on Mondays when we post. And then if you're listening, turn on your notifications on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all those places too so you guys can get notified on Mondays.
If you don't have any of that, then just leave us comments about what you want to talk about because content is the hardest part of this job.
Yes, send them in DMs, comments.
Yeah.
Story replies, whatever you guys want. I'll be monitoring.
I'll give you Emma's phone number in case you have any.
Don't even think about it.
Oh, okay. Oh, Luke Darnell just called me while I was gone. I'll have to call
Luke
Darnell
wants to tell you about how great our podcast was.
Right.
How he can't wait to have me co-host one of his.
Either that or he's got a catering question that he can't figure out.
Yeah, maybe a food truck problem. Who knows?
Right. I'm here for it. Okay.
All right, so that was episode 10 of Cue the Mic. See you guys later.
We're out of here.